Hello and welcome to another edition of the midweek message from the St. John Norrona Parish here in the province of Saskatchewan, 100 kilometers from our capital city Regina, on the east side of Last Mountain Lake. I'm recording outside today because this is where my sailboat is. I have here a lovely 17-foot C&C, that's Cuthbertson and Cassian design dinghy with a problem that's being fixed. St. Paul did a lot of traveling by boat, by ship, when he was doing his missionary journeys, so he used nautical illustrations in his writing. One of the illustrations he wrote was about the rudder. And what we have right here is the rudder of my P-17 Pace ship sailboat. Right now it's up, or shipped. But if I let this chain off and allow this piece of aluminum to drop down into the water, at that point I have rudder control over this sailboat. And the tiller, this wooden piece here, is moved to easily steer the direction of the boat. And Paul says our tongue is like that. It's a small thing compared to the whole boat, but it controls the whole thing. And it can cause a great deal of damage if it's out of control, because if I sail out and try to steer the boat with the rudder out of the water, I'm going to have a problem. I'm going to get blown all over the lake and probably will be blown onto the shore or onto some rocks and wrecked. So we need to keep our tongue in control. It's very important. And another thing that Paul doesn't mention or talk much about is the sails and the mast, because Paul was a tent maker. He was not a sailor, but he got to see what the sailors did in controlling the ship. Saul, later Paul, did all this traveling on ships, traveled on sailboats. There were no steamships in first century Roman Empire. But all of this travel around the Mediterranean was done with sailing ships. Sailing ships are driven by the wind. And here in this season of Pentecost, we talk about wind, about spirit, about breath. And they're all the same word, pneuma in Greek and ruach in Hebrew. And the spirit gives us power. Just like the wind in the sails gives the ship its power, its push. And with the rudder directing the ship, and with the wind blowing it and moving it forward, the ship can travel long distances and accomplish great things. Right now, this ship's got a problem. There's cracks in the mast. So if I go out in a windy day like today, there's a very real possibility that the mast is going to snap right off or fold down and collapse into the water. And then you've got a problem, because it's a long ways to paddle a 17-foot boat, especially with a sail dragging, and you're almost certainly going to get blown across the lake onto the rocks and probably wrecked. We need to have power to go anywhere. The Spirit gives us power, but we need to be equipped. The mast and the sails and the lines all work to harness the power of that wind, of that spirit, of that breath to move the boat. So we're given equipment, we're given tools, we're given intellect, we're given our skills in our hands and the skills that we have to do things. And God gives us all those things so that we can go out and accomplish much. The Spirit is there to give us the power, the inspiration, the filling with air, the life to go. And we can go and do great things. So this summer, get out in the sunshine. Get out and enjoy the water if you can. If you want to go sailing, we would love to take you sailing, as long as we're allowed to have you within 2 meters. And unfortunately, this is only 17-foot boat, so the cockpit only has room for 2 or 3 or maybe 4 people, and if you got more than 2, you're certainly not going to be farther apart than 2 meters. So let's hope that we can get this whole COVID-19 situation under control. You can come sailing. God bless you all, and may the wind fill your sails, and God give you the wisdom to direct where you go by the power of the Spirit. Amen.